do whatever it fucking takes to hit 10K a month like your life depends on it. Literally force it to happen. You really have two routes, the path that everyone else takes, or you can go the path less traveled. And now you guys have like a multi-7-figure agency. Free trials do work. 290K a month.
We could decide that we can build $1 billion company right now, and that's our belief.
I literally had a guy send me a death threat.
Buying your mom a house, maybe that's worth sacrificing for.
That's a new intro. I am really grateful to be here with Matt and Jared. You guys are two of my favorite clients ever. How old are you guys?
21.
When I first met you, Jared, I think you were still in high school, right? You were a senior?
Yeah, I was probably like 2-3 months from graduating.
Wow. And then now you guys have like a multi-7-figure agency. You guys are doing 290K a month?
Yes, sir.
Yep. You can say 300.
About 300K a month.
Give or take.
And I just wanted to, you guys are visiting Denver for the weekend. So I wanted to just bring us all together and just talk.
Can't wait. Excited.
So why don't we start with what we were talking about last night? I don't know. There was a lot that we talked about last night.
So much.
Which part?
I don't know. I know you guys were talking about potentially selling your agent. Actually, why don't we start here? Tell us your journey. Because I know and maybe share where we cross paths and kind of walk us through.
Yeah, I don't even know if you know about it.
Yeah, so tell me.
How we eventually got there. So
yeah, tell me how we met.
So this actually coincides with how Matt and I met. Bought the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. That absolutely changed my life. Bought a vending machine. Bought an ATM because I wanted passive income. I realized in high school, I was a sophomore at the time. I was 16. I couldn't even drive yet. I had my learner's permit. I still remember. And then
no driver's license, but vending machine,
an ATM. Yeah. So my mom used to pick me up from school, and then we would go restock the vending machine every single Friday, and then the ATM every 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we went ahead. Me and my friend Suyash actually. He saw a video online from Billy Wilson, and we decided to buy his course, watch the webinar. At first, I thought it was a scam. Didn't have the money, so I had to borrow $500 from my dad. OPM, the typical startup story, right? And at that point,
bro, you can't OPM your dad.
I still haven't paid him back. 0% interest.
Bro, you gotta hook him up.
Infinite return on investment. He's fine. I just bought him a trip to St. Martin at the Ritz-Carlton for Christmas. So
all right, good.
He's taking care of me.
I'm like, yo, leveraging OPM.
But from there, we went ahead and started the agency, started cold calling, door knocking. I had just got my license probably like 1 or 2 months after that. So we were driving around in my old beat up pickup truck, winter in New Jersey, because I still live in Jersey. I know how much you hate Jersey, but I'm still there and it's freezing. No heat, nothing. We're just driving around, knocking on businesses' doors. And for the first 12 months, we didn't make any money. Probably made like $1,000. And then after that, my business partner at the time, he left. He just couldn't do it. He wanted to go to college anyways, computer science. That was his path. Totally fine. I decided to keep pushing. I didn't want to go to school. And we went ahead and I keep saying we, but it was just me. I went ahead.
Did you have a lot of pressure to go to college or from friends? And what did people think about you in high school doing all this?
Well, there used to be something going around, like a rumor saying, I bet he's going to be, it was like a bet by what time I would be homeless by.
No way.
Yeah. So I think the main bet was like 25. I'd be homeless by 25. That's what everyone used to say. And everyone was shocked. So I grew up in an area that was majority of the population's Asian American. Immigrants, hardworking people, they really value education. So the fact that I wasn't going to school the conventional route of getting a degree and becoming a doctor or going to computer science, they thought that was insane. They thought it was absurd and they thought I would fail, which is understandable. That's how they were raised. That's pretty much how they were brought up. So I can see where they're coming from. But for me, I knew there was this knowingness that I could do something greater than what everyone else was doing. I knew that that wasn't the route for me. And I think a lot of people have that knowingness, but sometimes they just don't have the balls to actually go out there and just do it and pursue what they know they should be doing.
And people made a bet that you would be homeless by 25. It's
not over yet.
That's fucked up.
It's not over yet.
Bro, don't say that.
It could all come.
Jared's like gonna risk it all on black or red at the casino.
It could all come crashing down. Who knows?
He's like, I'm gonna YOLO
he still lives at home, so I mean, technically,
I'm kind of homeless.
Technically, well, you're the wealthiest homeless person I know. You know, but I think that's so powerful, man. Because I know in high school, like people's thoughts and opinions of you can really be hurtful and can really affect you. And I feel like it seems like you said, I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm not gonna let that get to me.
Yeah, I mean, you had two routes, right? And for anyone listening that's young, because I know there's so many young people that want to do something like this. They don't want to go the conventional route. Or even if you're out of school, if society as a whole just loves to judge people, loves to tell people what they should be doing for their own lives when it's really none of their business. But you really have two routes. You can go the path that everyone else takes, or you can go the path less traveled. And it will make all the difference. It sounds cliche, but it is the truth.
Absolutely. So then you didn't go to college, and then you did SMMA for a year, didn't really see results, and then what happened?
So went into the gym niche. I really cracked the code when I realized that all I needed to do was get a ton of appointments. But I couldn't get appointments because I didn't have money for ad spend. I didn't know how to run ads for myself. So I had to cold call, offer free trials, and that's how I got started off. So I was cold calling.
Yo, and there's so many people out there that hate free trials. Like anytime I post on my videos and I'm like, here's how to get your first client, free trials, everyone just shits on me in the comments. And I'm like, dude, if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you don't know how to get people results, don't lie. Like offer free trials, get experience, get social proof, then turn those into paying clients. So maybe you could touch on that too, because I know
it's a momentum play. That's all it is. And in the beginning, you're not going to get that client for a $3,000 retainer. It's possible, but it's very unlikely, especially if you don't have the sales skills, you don't have the marketing skills, and you probably don't even have the conviction in your own ability. So no one's going to have the conviction.
So you did free trials?
I did free trials. I was cold calling.
Can we say that again?
I did free trials. Free trials do work.
Did you do free trials, Jared Curry?
Free trials.
How much is your agency making now?
We're doing a little under $300,000
a month.
A month.
Did you say that to mess us up? Like, is this going to turn into an exposing Jared Curry video? No, I'm just kidding. We'll put a screen.
We'll put the screenshot somewhere. A month. And I was doing it in the bathroom.
So free trial. You went from free trials to $292K a month.
Yeah, and in the bathroom at school, I was cold calling. I would leave class, go to the bathroom for about 30 minutes. My teachers always said,
why bathroom? Why not like the hallway?
Because there were like hall monitors and stuff.
Principals.
That's sus, bro. He's like, I need to go in the bathroom and do my cold calls.
Yo, imagine walking in the bathroom. Imagine walking in the bathroom hearing a young Jared Curry. Like, I can bring you 15 quality leads next month.
Hey, Dr. John. It's like you're just taking a piss.
I have nothing to sell you. I just want to offer my services.
I'm the one calling you. You're not calling me. So I'd love to offer you a free trial.
That's pretty much what happened. So it was the kids vaping in the bathroom next to me, and then I was cold calling.
Man.
That's what was going on.
That's amazing. And then you offered free trials. It gave you momentum, and you were in the gym niche. Then what?
Gym niche, COVID, 2020. Someone decided to eat a fucking bat, and everything came crashing down. Probably in about 3 days. Lost all my clients, and at the time, I was at my peak. I had just closed Christian Guzman from Alpha Elite Gym, actually.
No way.
Yeah, probably a week or two before that. And then I thought I was like at the high. I thought I was at the top. We were doing probably like 15K a month. COVID happened. Probably for about a month, I did nothing. I was just in my room, at home, probably depressed.
Yeah, we've all been there. Like, I remember when I lost my first client, I remember waking up, getting a text, and this doctor was like, because let me take a step back. I definitely lost other clients, but when we had specifically focused in on chiropractors and we're all in, it was the first chiropractor client that I lost. I had lost other clients, but I knew it was for various different reasons. And I remember I woke up and I got a text from this doctor, and she said to me, Joel, you got us a lot of leads. We made an insane ROI. Thank you so much. And I was paralyzed. It almost felt like I died. Like when I lost that first client, it almost felt like the world ended and you just go into paralysis. And you have to just eventually, as you run your business, you realize losing clients is part of the game. It's normal. If you're not losing clients, that probably means that you're not scaling hard enough. For example, at our peak, when we had 200 active clients, even if our retention rate was at over 90%, which it was, what's 10% of 200? 20. We're losing 20 clients a month.
Right.
So it's normal. It's part of the game. And if you expect to retain 100% of clients forever, then you're delusional, or you've got some crazy thing, and then you're probably making a lot more money. So anyways, keep going. So you Christian Guzman, you weren't able to get him. You lost all your clients. You went into paralysis. And then what?
I found Joel Kaplan. And that's honestly when everything changed. We switched.
That's why you were looking so intimately into my eyes. I was like, this
I
guy's
can hug you right now.
This guy's gonna look into my soul right now.
I can hug you right now. Honestly, Joel, this is another part of the story. When I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, the only reason I wanted to start an agency was so I could make money to buy real estate. And the reason I'm in Denver right now is because I bought my first investment property because of the skills that I was able to learn from you. And that's why we're in Denver right now. So it all kind of ties together. It's super cool. So from there, saw your course, started an Ecom Agency.
Coaching program.
Ecom Agency.
No, I'm saying I don't have a course. Coaching program.
Coaching program. Yeah.
Like,
right.
We have 100 calls a month. It's not a coaching calls a month.
So we started the Ecom Agency, scaled that up to 100K, and that also came crashing down.
So you came into my program, you learned to scale to 100K a month, and then you scaled too quickly.
Scaled way too quickly.
And then it crashed. Tell us about that, and then maybe how you were able to rebuild back up and partner with Matt.
Yeah. And is it cool if I tell a quick little story that's
Take
good?
your time.
Okay, perfect. So,
dude, to me, you guys are some of the most. You guys probably don't know this, but to me, you guys are really good people. You're genuine. You care about your clients. You focus on results. You're always leveling up, and you're young. Like, you guys are the role models of the future. So take as much time as you want. Like, at your age, I was not thinking the way that you guys are, and it's funny because you guys look up to me, but like, you guys also inspire me. You know, in a way, I look up to you, and I know by the time you're my age, I'm 30, so 10 years older than you guys. Like, you guys are if you guys are here now, you're gonna surpass me in every aspect of life, not just financial. By my age now, like, you guys are in such an amazing trajectory. So take as much time as you want.
appreciate that, man. So there's this story, and I always like to tell it. And this is for the people listening. This isn't for us, but it's for the people listening. Because I know how you feel. And it's this guy, he's walking down the street. Matt's heard the story a million times. So he's probably like, shut the fuck up. But there's this guy walking down the street. He falls into this hole. And he's in New York. No one really cares. He just fell in a hole. He doesn't have his phone. He can't call 911. Someone's walking down the street. The guy in the hole shouts up, "Hey, you, I'm down in the hole. I'm stuck. Can you help me out?" The guy just walks along, doesn't pay him any attention. Then a priest comes along. The priest sees him. The guy in the hole sees him. And then they lock eyes. And the guy in the hole's like, "Father, I'm stuck in the hole. Can you help me out?" The father, the priest, writes out a prayer, throws it down in the hole, moves on. Then a doctor comes by, and the guy in the hole shouts up, "Hey, doc, I'm stuck in the hole. Can you help me out?" The doctor writes out a prescription, throws it down in the hole, moves on. Then all of a sudden, this guy named Joe, and keep in mind, Joe and the guy in the hole, they knew each other. So the guy in the hole shouts up, "Hey, Joe, it's me. I'm stuck in the hole. Can you help me out?" Joe jumps down in the hole. And then our guy that was stuck in the hole the whole time says, "Joe, are you stupid? Now we're both down here." Joe says, "Yeah, but I've been down here before, and I know the way out." So for everyone listening, we scaled, and when I say we, I mean I scaled one agency to 6 figures, it collapsed. I scaled a second agency to 7 figures, it collapsed. No matter where you're at, just like Joel said, you lost 20 clients in a single month. That's normal. Whatever you're dealing with right now, the mental roadblocks, the paralysis that you're dealing with, the stress, the depression, the anxiety, it's normal, and that is okay. You will get through it, especially if you're listening to great content like this. We've all been down here before, and we know the way out. So with that agency, we went ahead And like you said, we were scaling super fast. I had 3 closers. And you know what? The reason why I did is because I wanted to make mistakes. I wanted to learn from my mistakes. And if I didn't do that, I might still be running that agency. I might still be unfulfilled. And honestly, it would have happened anyways. It just happened way sooner because I decided to just take action and do stuff, even if they weren't the best decisions. But because of the actions I took with that agency, for example, like not caring about fulfillment at all, because there was a point where I was like, you know what? Let's just close as many clients as possible. We will focus on fulfillment later on. There was a point where I thought that. There was a point where I didn't value my team as much as I should. And it sucks to say that, but I had to learn my team members just quitting out of nowhere, just leaving me. And I was like, why'd you leave? You're an asshole, right? You were managing 40 clients and you just hop off and leave. I didn't understand that I wasn't serving them. And all of those mistakes that I learned from scope marketing, that was the Ecom Agency. I went ahead with Matt and we partnered together. And we'll probably get into that in a second. But I took all of the mistakes that I learned and then I made sure that we would never make them again with a steady eye. So that's that. That's what happened with the Ecom Agency.
That's cool, man. And, that resonates. I think I went through something similar where when I started to see a lot of success and I started to get more views on social media, you start feeling like you're hot shit. You start feeling like you're on top of the world. And not only do you feel like that, people start to validate you for it.
Yep.
You're constantly getting reminded, oh my God, you're amazing. And your bank account is growing. So then you think, oh, you're amazing. And then what's crazy is as a CEO, I made a lot of mistakes around 2021, which was kind of the peak of that hitting me in the face. And I went through a very similar situation. I had team members quit, things just falling apart. And, I vouched to myself, like, I'm never going to make that mistake again. Because, it's brutal. It's really hard.
Dude, I was thinking about it earlier. One of my favorite things about you is how genuine you are. And maybe it's because what you learned in 2021, I don't know. But you mentioned like the views and the money and how it can easily get to your head. I think one of the biggest things I look to you as a role model for is like you're so humble. Like I don't think like if I didn't know you, I would be like Joel Kaplan, like this guy's fucking crazy. Like, I'd be so lucky to meet him and talk to him. But when I talk to him, I'm just like, oh, this is Joel. Like, this is my guy. This is my friend.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's so important. So important because
it wasn't all like in 20. And I haven't actually talked about this on a podcast, but maybe it's good that I share it with the world. But I went through a stage where with all the money and all the views, and by the way, I'm sorry that it's taking away from your story. I want to get back to it in just a second. But I think this is good for everyone to hear. With all the views and likes and 300K, 400K, 500K a month, 600K a month, and you 700K a month, and you really feel like you're on top of the world. What happened was there was also more bad people that I encountered. So yes, I got to meet incredible people like you guys that I'm so lucky to call friends. And you guys are some of my favorite clients that I've ever supported. But I also met people that wanted to hurt me, that said nasty things to me. I've had people, I literally had a guy send me a death threat. And I've never met him, not a client, never spoken with him. I didn't know the guy. And it's really scary. Let's be honest. First time you get a death threat, it just puts shit into perspective, and you're like, "Is this really worth it?"
That's first time you get a death threat. Like people listening to this, first time you get it. That's such a crazy thing to think about.
Yeah,
some person just
he thought I owned. This is funny. He thought I owned Hermosi, like his entire gym launch. He thought I owned Fava with Omir. He thought I owned Go HighLevel.
Oh my gosh.
And he sent us a death threat, and he's like, if you don't pay me $4 million, I'm going to kill your family. And it was really scary. And the reason that I share this is because in that moment, I made a mistake. I put my guard up and I said, you know what? I'm pouring my blood, sweat, and tears into my clients, but the world is aggressive. The world is a scary place. So I'm going to close off. And for about 1 to 2 years, even leaning into like the first quarter of 2022, I closed off and I was not genuine anymore. I was not vulnerable. I wasn't open because I was scared and I wanted to protect myself. I was like, why am I going to pour my everything, all of me into the world, and then people are trying to hurt me? And I became more transactional. There's people that even came to Denver. They're like, Joel, do you want to hang out? And I was like, no. Like, when you guys asked me to come hang out this time, I'm like, I'm going to try to see these guys as much as possible because I want to build a real relationship and get to know you guys on a deeper level. So yeah, it wasn't always this way. I think you're seeing me in a good light. I've also had my moments. And I feel like now I'm in a place where I've learned it's good to, when you put yourself out there so much and you're so successful, like even for you guys at such a young age, and you put yourselves out there so much, it's good to have boundaries, which I didn't have before. Before I was like, I'm going to give everything to everyone. If I'm not feeling well, I'm still going to show up, give it my all, give everything. Like now I have boundaries with myself, but I'm also going to be open and show my heart and be vulnerable. So I don't know if that resonates, but
it does.
That was a lot. So I don't know if that.
Well, I think it's interesting that somebody threatening your life made you less open. I feel like, and I didn't go through it, so I don't know, but I feel like it would do the opposite for me. I feel like I would almost want to be more open because I realize like how impermanent all of this is. I think that's a good trick for people to stay humble is realize all of this is not real. Like it's all impermanent. However much money you make, this podcast, however many views you get, however many followers you have, it's like we die. None of that comes with us, right? So everything's impermanent. So why go about living your life as an asshole or like thinking you're hot shit? You could die tomorrow. Like I think death is a really good reminder for humility because all of this is impermanent. So I guess something to think about for people as they continue to make more and more money. Like, I don't know. I like to think I'm humble. And again, I try to learn a lot of that from you. But I can't envision a world where like I'm not. Like even if I had 1 billion or 10 billion, maybe I'd be a little bit more arrogant. Maybe I'd be a little bit more cocky. But ultimately,
for me, it wasn't the money. Like
no.
I never played the game. Like guys, besides my watches and my Tesla, like I don't really spend money on pretty much anything. And for me, it was more so the social media. Like as people started being like, "Oh, Joel Kaplan," I was like, "Oh wow, maybe I am this better person." And I had to really, I had to kill the ego, and I'm still working on it, guys. By no means am I perfect. I feel like I've made a lot of progress in the last year, but I'm still working on it. And I have my triggers, like you go to an event, and you meet all these people that are just validating you nonstop. Like you have to just remind yourself. I've actually asked a few people that I'm very close with, like, you have to call me the fuck out. Like if you feel like I'm going down a bad path, I live in a world where everyone is validating me. So I need people that are actually going to do the opposite and call me out and be honest with me.
That's super important.
But anyways, let's go back to your story. So where you're looking into my soul.
It's deep, man.
Yeah.
It's so deep.
You guys are so mature
like
for 20-year-olds.
I can feel it, man. Like I can feel your energy.
Yeah. I'm trying, man. Life is a journey for sure. So you guys joined Agency Lab. You guys took everything you learned, and I always tell people scale to 100K a month, even if it's messy, even if it's ugly. Like scale to 100K a month at least one time, because then you're going to adopt the identity of a CEO and transition from being a doer to a manager and a leader, and then it's going to allow you to actually build it the right way. The problem is most people get stuck in being an entrepreneurial employee, and they're stuck in the day-to-day. They never transition from doer to CEO to manager to leader. They never hit 100K a month, and they never build it the right way. So then you guys went out, you built it to 7 figures. It was ugly. Then it kind of broke, and then you guys built Estate AI.
He built it to 7 figures. I wasn't a part of the ugly one. That was just him. That was just him.
Yo, I thought you were humble. I thought you were humble.
He had his own
goes-
ugly messes. Okay.
But
He
here's the
goes,
thing. I never.
even as a billionaire, I'm gonna be humble.
I guess I regret that already.
I'm just kidding.
But no, I never even got to 7 figures, right? I never even got to 7 figures. So I guess it's better to build an ugly 7-figure agency than have no 7-figure agency at all.
At least one time. I do believe that like there's just so much that you learn. You know, there's just so many things that you won't ever learn at 10K, 20K, 30K
Yep.
a month.
Yeah.
If I didn't have scope, a state AI would not, in my opinion, be a 7-figure agency. At least not right now. Not as fast as we scaled it. It was a year and 4 months. We acquired it for. We'll talk about a state AI in a second, actually. But going back to scope, I partnered with these 2 other people, and I let them take charge because I realized this isn't what I wanted to do. And it goes back to what Matt said about deaf. I had this notification on my phone. I get it every single, I don't think it's going to pop up, but I get it every single day. I think at 9 a.m. And then I also get one at 8 p.m., something like that. And it tells me you're going to die. And it's just a reminder that I get every single day. And I think after looking at that a few times and then running the Ecom Agency and realizing I don't like the clients, I don't like Ecom. This is so stressful and detrimental to my mental health. I mean, you remember that time I called you. That was one of the darkest moments of my life. When the CSM stuff, thinking about moving out, just so much stuff going on. I was depressed.
What did I tell you?
Well, we were talking about living at home a lot. That was a big thing. And you were just like, do what you want to do. Right? Instead of just saying, well, this is what I would do. And I really appreciate that because that helped me so much, not just with that one little thing about moving out of my parents' basement, right? It helped with so many other things in my life and in my business. For example, with Scope, I was like, well, what do I really want to do? I don't want to do this. So I partnered with them. I let them take over. We started going down. We went from 100K. We had like 100K in the bank at the time. And to the very end, I was able to technically exit right before and basically sell off the clients and the assets. And at the very end, I think they were left off with debt, actually, that I had to take control over, even though we gave them, I gave them full authority to run the agency, ownership, all of that stuff. But I was the one left responsible for taking care of all of that, which I was fine with. And I had to get through that entire period of my life. And that took me a few months probably. But you know what's funny? It goes back to the thing you said about identity. Once you build a 7-figure agency, we were probably at the 7-figure run rate for maybe 2-3 months. Even beyond that, I still considered myself a 7-figure agency owner, a 7-figure entrepreneur. And I think that's part of the reasons to why you have to do it messy. Because
it's like breaking the 4-minute mile. I think so many people never. One of my favorite things to tell beginners: do whatever it fucking takes to hit 10K a month like your life depends on it. Literally force it to happen, because once you do, then you break the identity of, oh, I can't be successful. You're like, oh, wow, you touch success and you can feel it and you can believe it. And then it becomes a part of who you are. Yeah, and I think after that, the hard part is 10K a month, it's all about you. You can do it. You're the doer. 100K a month, you're the leader. You're the person managing and leading doers, and most people get stuck. It's very, very easy to get stuck and be an entrepreneurial employee. You're an employee of your own business, and it's really just you being a high-paid employee. And I tell people, do whatever it takes to hit 100K a month, because then what happens is it forces you to transition from employee to CEO. And once you have that identity, then you could build it.
You can do it over
and over again.
It doesn't matter. Like, we can just keep going. And I took a few months off, and that's when Matt actually came to me and wanted to acquire this guy's agency that was doing $18,000 a month. And that's when the State AI really started.
Okay, so before we go into that, let's start with your story. Let's rewind it back, and then we'll meet back at this moment.
I'll keep it short and sweet.
Saying I talk too much?
I didn't say that.
He's humble. He's not going to say it, you know? Maybe he's thinking it. No, just kidding.
Oh, he's definitely thinking
No, dude, you're an inspiration, Jared. You need your own podcast.
You really do.
I know you said, I'll say this though. Can I, one more thing.
Please.
One more thing. Maybe we talk too much. But yesterday you told me, Joel, I don't know if I want to build a personal brand. I've struggled with that a lot because putting yourself out there, putting your identity out there, you're going to meet a lot of good people. You're going to meet a lot of bad people. You're just meeting more people in general. There's good people in the world, bad people in the world. And there's going to be people that criticize you. There's going to be people that talk shit, push you down. And you have to really ask yourself, is this worth it? One of the reasons I actually decided to go all in and say, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to get as much attention as humanly possible is because I feel like I can help people. I feel like I do have that genuine desire, and I feel like that's a way that I can give back. And you have that superpower. It's just the way you talk, the way you show up, the way you are. You have that superpower, and maybe it is worth building a personal brand, even if it's just for the sake of giving back, even if it's not for the sake of making money. Something to think about.
Yeah, you would kill it. I'm going to keep it short and sweet because Jared covered a lot of similarities to my story, like very, very similar.
Vending machines?
No vending machines.
ATMs?
No rich dad, poor dad. But I was 17 years old. I was in high school. And I think the one big difference, and I don't know exactly how Jared felt. I know he went through a lot, but I was just a very depressed, lost kid. Like I was for 3 years straight of my life, from age 14 to age 17. I was depressed. I was anxious. I was angry. And I was hopeless. Like I didn't think it would get better. I'd literally given up on my life at like age 15, which is a terrifying thing to think about, that a 15-year-old kid could think that like life doesn't get better. And that's how I was. And I'd really, really given up for like 3 years straight. I was just like 90% of my days were stress and sadness. And then I came across this thing called smma. And it's like, I know it sounds so fucking corny.
That sounds like an ad.
It literally does. It literally does. But it's true. Like I came across online business and I was like, wait, I can make money online. Like this is crazy. This is real. And so I started looking into it, and I bought the same course, Billy Wilson. And what I really liked about Billy is
Billy's a good guy.
He is. He didn't seem like he was trying to like sell some shit. He didn't seem like he was, a very like charismatic salesperson. He seemed like a genuine, real guy who just figured out how to make money. And so I was like, okay, if this guy did it, I think I can do it too. And I think that's one of the most important things in mentors. Can you see yourself in that person? And I saw myself in Billy. He was just at a way higher level. And so I bought the course and I was like, man, if I can
How do you pay for it?
I borrowed parents' money.
Nice. OPM.
Pay it back?
I haven't paid them back yet. I didn't get many trips in the Ritz-Carlton either. So shit, I got to make up
You
for
really
that.
owe him then.
Yeah. Yeah. So I used my parents' money. I remember going to my mom and I was like, Mom, I need to buy this course. I'm not going to college. There's no way I'll do it. Like it literally felt like life or death to me at the point. I was like, I have to figure out how to make money or like I'm done. And I convinced her. She cried. I was like, Mom, I'm not going to college. I'm doing this. And she cried. And she looked so, like the look on my mom's face when I told her I wasn't going to college. It was so fucking heartbreaking that I was like, I got to make this work. I got to make this work. So I bought the course, and I remember saying to myself, if I can make $2,500 a month online, like I'll be the happiest person in the world. If I can just figure out how to survive on my own, I'll be the happiest person in the world. And so I bought the course. I started making money. I think I went 4 months without making anything. But after 5 months, I think I was at $2,500 a month, and I was not the happiest person in the world. I was just another guy, and I was like, shit, I got to make more. And I became addicted to it. I built 5 agencies up to 6 figures. Then they failed, went back down to 0. It kept happening over and over again. But I had the most important factor, which was hope. I had hope now. I was like, I can figure out how to survive.
At the end of the tunnel.
Exactly. I can live from anywhere. I can figure this out. This is real. And that's why I say the business changed my life, because it gave me hope. Like I didn't realize it was a real possibility to make money online. I didn't realize that was a true thing. And I think so much of success is just realization. Like had I never watched Billy Wilson's YouTube videos, I don't know what I would be doing. But I think about all my friends who are in a similar spot. Maybe they're hopeless, they're lost. Had they just watched that same video, imagine where they might be. So to wrap up the story, met Jared. He bought your course. I've never actually bought your course. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I know that.
But yeah, I never actually bought the course. I never joined. But he did, and he was just like, dude, you have to get in this program. You have to get in this program. Because I kept getting up to 10K, 20K, and then going back to 0. And he's like, dude, like, invest in Joel. And he invited me to your event in Mexico. And he was like, dude, come out, just go to the event, I'll pay for it. And I was like, all right. Like, Jared has never met me in person. He's offering to pay for my trip to Mexico and pay for me to go to the event. I was like, all right, I have to do it. And that was probably the most like life-changing moment, was being in person with all of these 100K a month agency owners, talking to random but regular people.
That event was pretty
It was
special.
incredible. It was incredible. And I just saw I just met all these people, and I had that realization. Like, oh, I could be making 100K a month.
Yeah, I think you realize like these guys are no different, you know?
Exactly.
Even like now I spend time with people that are doing way more than me. And, you know, I used to work for a billionaire, and I actually paid to have an hour of another billionaire's time. You realize like these guys, in a crazy way, you guys are more skilled. And I told you guys this last night when we were hanging out. You guys are more skilled than some of the most successful people in the world. Like, you look at the most successful people in the world, a lot of them don't have crazy automations and know how to do crazy good copywriting and all these things. They're just playing a bigger game, have access to bigger networks with more capital. Like, that's pretty much it. And they have the balls to go for a scarier game, because it's scarier to go and build a private equity firm and go buy up hundreds of roofing companies, for example. That's scarier than starting a roofing agency.
Yep.
If they're not,
and that's the side.
Yeah, if they're not smarter, if they're not more skilled, then you have to ask yourself, what do they have that I don't? And it's almost always belief. Like, they just have, not even that they have more belief, they have less limiting beliefs. They just have, like, for whatever reason, the way they've lived their life up until this point, they've had less, limiting factors cast on them from friends, from family. For whatever reason, they just believe it's possible. And so the cool thing about belief is, like, it doesn't take time to really cultivate it. You can literally just change your beliefs right now. Like, we could decide that we can build $1 billion company right now, and that's our belief. And we can just own that immediately. So these people who are way more successful, it's almost always just belief. It's not skills. It's not intelligence or talent, like you said. It's almost always belief, I feel like, at that level.
Yeah, and of course there's some exceptions. Like, you look at the Elons and the Sam Altmans of the world, they have higher IQ than most human beings. But you also look at the people that started like a huge restaurant franchise chain that went on to be $1 billion company or something like that, and they're no more special than any of us. So you went to the event and you had that hope, and you had that, you saw, oh my God, all these people are just like me, like.
Yeah, I was at $0 a month at the time. I came off my 5th failed agency. And Sergio had, during his talk, he said, guys, write down.
Sergio's my business partner, by the way.
Sergio,
for those of you guys that don't know him.
One
He's
of the other
behind the scenes
coaches too in Rise. He said, write down your revenue goal. He was like, write down your revenue goal. And he went around and he asked people, like, what's your revenue goal? How much do you want to make? And I was literally like, 20K a month. That's what I wrote down. I was like, 20K a month, that'd be cool. I looked over at Jared's paper and I saw what Jared wrote, and I was like, fuck, like, I got to do more than 20K a month. So I wrote down 100K a month, and we were thinking about partnering on a business at the time. So he was like, he wrote down 100K a month. Like, our business will do 100K a month. And he passed over the paper to me, and it had his fancy ass signature. And he was like, sign this, because we're going to make 100K a month. And so I said I was going to make 100K a month before the year was over, and I was at 0. I had 11 months to do it. But December came around, December 31st, we had done $147,000 in that 1 month alone. And it's been history ever since. That was the State AI that did that. And then smmafulfillment.com contributed to some too. That's the white label. That was maybe like 15K a month out of that 150. But yeah, that's I guess the summary of the story.
Yeah, my favorite part of your entire story is that it takes time. Like, success takes time, and success requires failure. Success takes time, and success requires failure. Everyone thinks, oh, I bought this program, I'm going to build a massive agency just because I see other people doing it. But what you don't realize is they put in time, sacrifice, they face their fears head on over and over and over again. Like you said, you failed your agencies multiple times, and you kept going. You kept showing up. You kept giving it the time required, and you kept failing. kept leaning in.
Yeah. And the question is, well, if we know that to be true, why do most people not give it the time? Why do most people quit? And I'm curious your thoughts on this because you work with so many people.
I have two thoughts that just come to mind right away. Number one, if you look at how the traditional education system is ran, it's not based on incentivizing failure. It's based on incentivizing perfection.
Mhm.
So imagine if your high school teacher said, "Hey, Matt, I actually want you to fail for the next 3 or 4 exams and just really, really experiment with it and really fuck it up. And then we'll talk about what you learn from it and how you can be better on the 5th try." Have you ever heard anything like that from any teacher in America? Like, I personally didn't have one teacher that promoted leaning into fear, into the uncertainty, into the unknown and exploring and being curious. Instead, they said, do this, memorize this. Whether you really, truly learn it, it doesn't really matter. Make sure it's perfect. Get an A or a B.
Right.
So I think it's actually, we are, in at least in the United States of America, we are primed to avoid failure and we are incentivized to lean towards perfection. The problem is life as we know it doesn't function off of perfect outcomes on the first attempt. And then everyone gets paralyzed because they're like, why don't I I can't do this business thing because I'm going to fail. It needs to be perfect. It needs to be perfect. So then I never get started. I never take the first step and then I'm stuck. Or, oh, it failed one time. I'm done. This wasn't for me. It's too much because you're primed to expect it to be perfect right from the get-go because that's how we've been educated. So I think part of it is that. I think most people also don't give it enough time because a lot of people say they want the success, but do you really want the success or only the upside that comes with it? Do you really want the success or just the nice cars and the watches and the location freedom, being able to travel the world? If that's all that you want, then you don't actually want success.
Yep.
You just want a high-paying job, does multiple 6 figures a year, and you're probably better off getting a 9-to-5 working for a big tech company. If you say you want to be successful, you also have to want sacrifice. You also have to want insane discipline. You also have to want letting go of a lot of things that most people get to have, like their weekends. Like, you guys are 20 years old. Like, you've given up a lot that most 20-year-olds will never want to give up and have the courage to do so. So I think, like, most people, they say they want success, but they're actually lying to themselves. They don't actually want success. They want the rewards of success. But success is both the reward and the sacrifice, and you can't have one without the other.
Your success and your sacrifice are almost always proportionate. Like, sacrifice is a determinant of somebody's success. They almost always go hand in hand. 10K a month, you have to make a certain amount of sacrifices to get there. 100K a month, you have to make 10 times the sacrifices. Get to $1 billion, right? It's a whole nother level of billionaires. Think about how many billionaires, while they were building their business, gave up on time with their family, gave up on hobbies, gave up on friendships. Think about how many things they lost and they sacrificed in order to, but the thing with sacrifice, like, this is the name of the game, I feel like, when it comes to success. But most people don't realize what sacrifice actually is. They just think it's giving something up. They just think it's giving something up, but it's giving something up in order to attain something way greater. So you have to find and you have to decide, what do you think is worth sacrificing for? Most people, a Lamborghini is not worth sacrificing for. It's just a cool, shiny object. But buying your mom a house or being able to retire your dad, maybe that's worth sacrificing for. So you have to think on a deeper level, like, what would actually make me want to go through all the shit in order to get this as an outcome? What is that thing? And it's almost never money, because we think that money's going to make us happy, but we almost always know that it's really not. We just lie to ourselves.
And I think you ask a good question for anyone thinking about this, right? What is that sacrifice going to be? What's worth the sacrifice? Well, first off, the pain of staying the same must be greater than the pain of change. Because if not, then the change will never happen. So I think that's what people also have to realize. They need to be able to develop that pain. Well, not even develop it, but realize that there is a pain. And realize that pain of staying the same, once again, is greater than the pain of change.
And you know what? If people don't want I think the hard part is knowing what you actually want. If you don't want success and money and all these things, that's fine. I think the challenge is when you tell yourself that you do and you don't actually want it.
Yeah.
Because again, success, if you want success, that also means that you want sacrifice and you want to struggle.
Yep.
And the hard part is getting very clear on who you are. If you want to get a 9-to-5 job and just show up and just have your weekends, have your nights, easy peasy, 6 figures a year. If that's what you want, then you've won.
Yeah.
I know that Gary Vee talks about this. I know some people hate him, love him. I actually like him a lot. As I've advanced in my journey, I'm like, oh, he's actually right about quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah.
Like content.
Yeah.
And I used to be like crazy paid ads. And then I'm like, no, I really like content. It's a great way to give back and connect with people on a deeper level. But then the other thing is like, he's like, you have to figure out what winning means for you. And I think what happens is most people say they want all these things, but they don't really want it. So.
And when you do that, you're almost always setting yourself up to suffer. Like, desire is the root of suffering. You cannot suffer if you do not desire. Like, this is Buddhist philosophy, basically. They say life is suffering, and they say the reason we suffer is because we desire. They say you can get rid of your suffering if you first just get rid of your desires. So the people who want Lamborghinis or want a lot of money, want the nice penthouse in Bali or whatever, like, if you're suffering right now because you don't have those things, you can simply just give up the desire altogether, and it will make you way happier. It will make you way happier. So I think that's important to keep in mind as well, is the fact that your desires, all these things you want, are actually the reason you're unhappy. It's not because you don't have them. It's because you want them in the first place that makes you unhappy.
Yeah, I want to ask you one question,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe we could bring it back to a state AI. I'd love
Sure.
to keep hearing everything you've learned on that journey business-wise. Maybe we can get into some tactics. But
That's an interesting agency to uncover. That's for sure.
Yeah.
yeah, all right, well, we'll get into that. But I want to ask you, you said you were in a really dark place in
Yeah.
high school. Like, I know most people that are on social media are teenagers or early 20s. Like, what would you, if you could go back in time and give yourself some advice when you were in that dark place, what would you tell yourself?
You don't matter as much as you think you do. The reason that I was so unhappy is because I thought it was so important, and I thought when I felt bad, it was a really big deal. Nothing really matters. Like, it's almost like depressing, the philosophy I now hold on life, but it's basically like nothing matters. We're all gonna die. We're all impermanent. None of this is as important as we think it is. The reason I was so unhappy is because I thought everything was way more important than it actually was. Other people's opinions, what my parents said, what I achieved. I thought it was way more important than it actually was. And I could have been way happier and way more free mentally if I just realized none of this shit actually really matters. And I can just decide what matters to me. If I'm not a super confident person, or if I'm maybe not with the girl of my dreams, or if I'm not making a ton of money, whatever like flaws I think I have in my life, if I can just realize it actually doesn't even matter, and I can just decide what is important to me and then focus on that, then I would have been way happier. And what's really important to me is treating people right, good connection, good friends, good hobbies, good activities, like spending time in nature, like playing basketball with you. Dude, I've had more fun playing basketball with you in the last 2 days than I've had making however much money in the last 3 years. Like, it's been more enjoyable. So if I just focused on what actually mattered to me, and I looked deep into like, what do I actually care about? And I had those deep conversations with myself, I would have been way happier. But I was letting all of the influence of other people in society, like we've been talking about this entire podcast, I was letting it create a mindset that I needed to do things that I didn't actually want, really. Like, I didn't really want to do these things, but I was telling myself I did. And it's because I thought things were more important than they actually were. So if I could go back and tell myself anything, would have been, none of this shit really matters. It's really all just a game. Decide what's important to you and focus on that.
That was beautifully said, honestly. I still can't believe you guys are like 20 years old, you know?
21. Keep
21.
saying
We're legal now.
Wait, you're 21 now?
I'm 21 now.
Okay,
I no
cool.
longer have to pay to go into bars. They just let me in.
Oh, yeah? Were you paying before?
Yeah. I remember I came to...
I remember we went to Mexico, and I'm like, or when we went to the Mexico event, you were like 18. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to be, we're in Mexico, so I'm not liable if these guys do something wild. You know,
Get a call from Jared's dad.
And we did some wild things.
we're not gonna get into it on this podcast. That's for sure. If you guys want to know the wild things they got up to, maybe shoot them a DM. You know, you guys can, or you do your own podcast.
We'll do a part 2 along
The rated R version, part 2.
Yeah.
You guys are wild. So you guys met you guys really met for the first time in person in Mexico at my mastermind, and then you guys then decided to buy an agency. Like,
so I was running a white label company, smma fulfillment, as you know, and I was focused on that. I was really trying to grow that because I loved client results. I've always just been obsessed with product. So I was like, if I could build a white label and actually help agency owners provide the most important thing in their business, which is their clients' results, then that's going to be what I thrive on. That's what I can do differently. I don't want to work with gyms. I don't want to work with realtors. That obviously backfired because now I work with realtors. But that's what I was doing at the time. And I had this one really interesting client who was one of Jared's coaching students. So he was one of Jared's coaching students, and he was one of my white label clients. And he just kept getting a ton of new clients every single week. And I was white labeling for him. And I saw the guy go from 0 to like 15 clients in like a month and a half. He didn't really know what he was doing. Like, he was a smart guy, but he wasn't any different than any of my other clients. But he was in a really good vehicle working with realtors. There was a clear need. There was a clear desire for realtors to invest in lead gen services. And so I was like, man, if he's doing that, there must be a really big opportunity here. And if he's doing it at this level, imagine what level I could do it at. So I talked to him and I was like, here, let's just be partners, right? And let's just be partners. We had a verbal agreement, 50-50. And we partnered up. And I was like, I'll be operations and fulfillment, and you just keep doing the sales. And then I messaged Jared and I was like, dude, there's something here. Like, there is something here. I don't know how to explain it. I know you don't like realtors. I know you don't want to do another marketing company, but like there is something here. And he was like, nah. But then eventually one day he called me. He's like, dude, let's start a business together. And I was like, bro, I have a business. You just have to come in on it. We'll call it Estate AI. It'll be the gym launch of the real estate world. And he was like, man, I don't know. But eventually, I guess he was like, I got nothing better to do. I don't know what the reason you changed your mind was, but he was like, let's do it.
I can't even remember.
But it blew up when Jared joined.
he was bored.
That's probably what it was. And when Jared joined, because we had decent results.
You guys bought it?
We kind of.
We bought it, but it was an unconventional acquisition, $0 down.
Nice.
Yeah. So we basically.
So seller financed?
No, it wasn't even seller finance. We made it seller financing later on.
It was just
a really good deal.
But he's not in it anymore.
No.
No, it's just we'll be the operators of the agency. We'll scale it up, and you go from
you keep
50-50 to you go down to 20%, and we'll scale it up. And he was like, sure, let's do it.
And he didn't have to do anything.
Yeah. And so it's the same way that I basically exited smma fulfillment. Same thing. I just got other people to run it because I didn't want to run it anymore. And so then Jared joined. And when Jared joined, like, it went to a new level because he knew how to make money.
Wow.
I think his weakness was always client results. My weakness was always sales. That's why we've been such good partners. It's a very clear dynamic that just makes sense. So he came in, we started doing pay in fulls. We started building a sales team. We started coming up with like proper scripts and a better demo. I remember we used to fight on like the demo for the sales deck so much. I was like, dude, we got to use this demo. Trust me. And he was like, dude, this demo sucks. And so he changed it. And then we just started closing a ton of deals. And we went to, I think 130, 140K a month in like 3 months.
Yeah, I remember you guys posting in the agency lab like group with the community. And me and Sergio were like, what is going on?
It is weird.
Like, are these guys on drugs right now? Like, it just started.
It's
like,
all natural.
It's all natty.
It's what Philip said yesterday, dude. He's like, we cracked the matrix. That's what it was. We cracked the agency matrix.
Cracked the agency matrix. Yeah, once you crack it. So you had the CEO mentality, the 7-figure, you had become a 7-figure human being. Therefore, you could go and build a 7-figure agency. You had the fulfillment, the operations, which was what Jared was lacking. And then boom, it took off.
Exactly. Yep. That's basically it.
Wow. And then what's next?
Oof. That's a good question. I'll be honest. For me, I can't speak for Matt. I don't know. And that's okay. Right. I'm not sure what's next. And there was this quote. You took a picture of it.
Yeah. But do you mean what's next in the story or what's next for us, like after Estate AI?
I mean, I was wondering what's next for Estate AI, but I also like the
The other
overall
topic
life.
too.
We'll dive back into a state AI, but honestly, I don't know what's next, and we'll see. We'll see.
Well, the quote was it was
That's
a
cool,
Ben
man.
Stiller movie. Ben Stiller movie. It was what's the like haunted museum movie? Night.
I know
Night
what
at
you're
the
talking about.
museum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the museum movie. And it's him talking to Robin Williams, and
Yeah.
the museum, like the museum. What was it? What's the name of the movie?
Night of the museum,
I think there's a word missing there, but all right, Night
Night at the museum?
maybe.
whatever the name of the movie is.
No,
Like,
this is really important.
The,
No, I'm just kidding.
like the museum, comes to life at night, right?
Canceled. Exposed.
The museum comes to life at night, and all the people in the museum, all of the artifacts or the cases or whatever, they come to life in the middle of the night. And when the movie's over, Ben Stiller is like, it's done. Like they're not going to come to life anymore in the middle of the night. It's over. He like solved the problem or whatever. I forget how the movie goes. But he's talking to one of the characters who comes to life every night. It was Robin Williams, and he was like, I don't know, a general in some old army or something. And Ben Stiller's like, now that this is solved, like this is giving me so much purpose, help figuring out what's going on at this museum. He's like, what am I going to do tomorrow? He's like, I have no idea what I'm going to do tomorrow. And then Robin Williams is like, isn't that a beautiful thing? And I was like, it's really insightful, man. Movies are really deep. I have no idea what's next either. I don't think Jared does either. But
I'm excited about
that's
that.
the beauty. That's the
awesome.
beauty in it. That's the beauty in it. Yeah.
And I think we live in a society where everyone's chasing the next thing. Like, for example, when I wanted to start the agency, it's like 10K. All right, got to 10K, 50K, got to 50K, 100K. I think if I get to 100K, everything's gonna change. Got to 100K, nothing changed. So we're constantly chasing once again that desire. Honestly, it means nothing, because that probably just means if we don't know what we're chasing, and when we actually achieve that, we don't have any feeling towards that, like none at all, probably means we're chasing the wrong thing, and we need to take a step back and really just let it come
Just
to us and
be,
be
yeah.
present.
I feel like most entrepreneurs are, though. Most entrepreneurs are chasing the wrong thing. And
I think if you guys can sit with it for a little bit, instead of, this is something I actually learned from George Liu. Instead of pushing towards something, you're going to get pulled towards something. And I think this is something I learned from Sergio. Maybe your runway isn't, big enough. And what he means by that is like, if it's so easy to attain, like the 100K, and I know that's not easy, but like if it's achievable given where you're at, like maybe the dream is also not big enough, So something to think about.
I think sometimes people mistake the dream based on the size of it. Like it doesn't need to, why does it have to be big? Right? Like why does it have to be $1 billion tech company? Why does it have to be $100 million thing? So for me, I'm like, it's either let's go build a big software or something like that, or it's like, let's just do something small that we actually love. And I really feel like the latter is what I'd actually enjoy and would make me way more fulfilled. But I'm also
or yes, and like you can do both.
Potentially, yeah. But I worry
Why
that.
not? I mean, unless it's not what you want, but like, dude, life is what you can design your life however fuck you want.
Yep.
It's a blank canvas. Obviously, like you can't just like run red lights every day and like.
Oh, he did today.
Yeah.
All the time.
Big trouble. Yeah, I think man, I had a good thought and I lost it, but it probably wasn't that good then.
Diving back into a state AI, if you want to know what's next for that. If maybe we backtrack a little bit.
Jared, I remember.
Go
Can I
ahead.
talk about what I was going to say?
Go
All
ahead.
right. You know what's crazy? When I graduated college, I did go to college, and I remember. I know now I'm like anti. I'm like, bro, 4 years.
Yeah.
I gave 4 years of my life.
I can't even imagine.
Oh my God. Like, dude, imagine if I put all that energy into something else.
Dude.
Oh my God, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Can't go back
Hey,
in time.
everything happens for a reason.
Happened for a reason. You learn now. Like
yeah. Now I actually, you know what? I can actually see both. I was in, because you were in it, you can, and you lived it. Like I have a more grounded opinion on whether or not it's worth it.
Yeah,
especially then meeting people like you guys that didn't go to college, and I can see both. You know what's really interesting? When I graduated, I told myself I want to go you know, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, all these things, but I was like, I want to be an entrepreneur that also changes the world. And I actually remember telling myself, I want to go either into solar or into education. And then I went and got a job at a company called Indigo Project, which is an education-based company. And for my first 2 years out of college in a job, I went to high schools all across the nation. Hundreds of high schools. I met thousands and thousands of high school students and teachers and principals and superintendents. And I remember being like, it just doesn't feel like the impact that I thought I was going to have. And we actually, they took the DISC personality test. You guys know which one that is? The Tony Robbins. It's on the, you guys can all get it at Tony Robbins' website. But we essentially designed one for high school students. We were helping students understand themselves better, which I thought was really empowering. And what's really interesting is after those 2 years, like I just never felt like we had the impact, maybe because of a lack of money. Company wasn't really profitable. The management wasn't quite there. Like there wasn't really product market fit. Like schools didn't really want this. It was just kind of like a nice thing to do. And you know what's fascinating? I feel like I have more impact on education now as a so-called guru, like with coaching and charging people money for it. And I feel like I actually have made a bigger dent on education, on teenagers, on 20-year-olds
100%
all across the world. And the reason I share that is because you said, I want to do either this big thing or this little thing that's more meaningful. And sometimes it could actually be both. And it might not be exactly what you thought it would look like. Who's to say that the big thing isn't also the little thing that's having the impact in the world that you wanted? I could have, you told me, Joel, you working with chiropractors and running Facebook ads was going to help change education. I would have told you you're fucking nuts. What are you talking about? Like literally, what? Like that doesn't even logically add up in any way, shape, or form. Yet today, even sitting with you guys, it's very clear to me that I've had more impact on teenagers and 20-year-olds than I ever had working at a company that directly was trying to solve that problem. So I don't know, just something to think about.
That's powerful. You have though. You've Jared and I were talking about this a while ago. Like Joel single-handedly changed an entire industry. Like the SMMA game.
I don't know. That's
you did
a big
though.
claim.
You did. Of course you did.
Who was doing paid ads before you?
Set appointments, close appointments, crack paid ads.
Maybe Nick Robbins. Maybe.
I don't even really know who that is, so I don't know. I'm giving it to you.
He's a good friend. He's a good friend. He was one of my first mentors. Good guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I think you did. And Nick Robbins probably did too. He probably did too. It's just at different scales. Maybe his was more, maybe his was less, but I definitely think you did. Yeah, 100%.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Anyways, I just remembered that and I was like, that's pretty powerful because I feel like, I guess the point I was trying to make is that life, it never is exactly what we thought it was going to be. And it's also perfect that way.
Yeah.
Isn't that a beautiful thing?
Yeah.
Anyways, Estate AI.
Estate AI.
And then
woo. That's what we do after we say Estate AI.
Estate AI.
Woo.
Oh yeah?
A little less than that.
What do you want to know?
Did you guys do you just say that? Like every time Estate AI comes up?
Not every time.
We used to do it a lot. We don't even do that much anymore. But
we'll do it at our team retreat next month. Someone will just yell, Estate. It'll probably be Estate AI. And then we just go.
Yep.
Nice.
What do you want to know, man? There's so much to break down about this.
Yeah,
agency.
let's do this. I'm gonna do some. We went deep.
Rapid fire.
I feel like we shared people. I think what is really important. Let's rapid fire. Why do you guys feel like most beginners fail or never get started? Jared, go first.
I think it comes down to the thing that you were saying about perfection, right? They have analysis by paralysis. They take in all this information and they never actually go out and execute it because they're scared and their brains are clogged with a bunch of stuff that probably isn't even important. They're focused on the wrong thing.
How about you?
I think most are running a sprint when it's actually a marathon. If you can just focus on making the marathon money, like it's so much more massive. Most people are just looking for.
So you're telling me I could run free trials. It's not a bet.
Dude, I did free trials too. I wanted to jump
Dude,
in.
some
but Jared was
fucking guy on TikTok made a duet. He was like, "Oh, Joe Kaplan free trials." I'm like, all right.
Compassion,
He's
bro.
missing out.
just compassion. That's it. He just doesn't know what you
I'm
know.
just kidding. I'm just
I know.
kidding. And
You gave me a hard
that-
time about being humble, so I'm gonna give you a hard time.
I struggle with look. I'm not saying I'm still working on it. I'm not perfect.
No, but yeah, no, I did a ton of free
And that
trials.
guy's channel is actually very good, by the way. He does a great job. I was like,
Can you name drop?
no. It doesn't matter. I think he does a great job, but I actually disagree. Free trials are great, and not for white people. Always say, and sorry, I'm taking your answer.
you're good.
But everyone always says free trials are bad because it puts you in a bad position to be able to upsell and have a good relationship with the client. But free trials are more for you than they are for the client. It's for you to gain experience. It's for you to gain social proof so that you actually have the conviction to be able to go out and get clients. So maybe the free trial doesn't actually get you the client.
I don't know about that.
But well, sometimes it does.
Yeah.
But let's say that it doesn't. The point of the free trial, more than anything else, is to give you the experience and the conviction that you desperately need to be able to actually go out and get paying clients, which most people don't have. Most out of 100 beginners, 99 do not have conviction. And what's the number one leading factor in increasing your ability to close someone? Conviction. If you don't have belief, you're not going to fucking close someone, even if you have the best product in the world.
Amen.
So, free trials.
100%. Yeah, no, free trials are
And I'm going to
huge.
make that
I
a
did 'em
TikTok.
too. That's a clip.
All right. Why do most people?
Yeah, they're running the sprint. They're not running the marathon. And they need to, I think, shift their minds. I saw so many people when I first joined Billy's course. I saw so many people in my mini mastermind that was a part of his group. I saw so many of them quit after 2-3 months. I saw people who even got clients, had like $2,500 a month solar clients. I saw them just quit and give up. It's almost always expectations. Problems arise when expectations differ. When the reality of what you're chasing is different than what you're expecting it to be, you almost always stop because your expectations are wrong. Your expectations are fucked. And that's what's so dangerous about, 10K a month in 30 days or 300K a month in a year. It's so dangerous because then people start to expect that. And that's not reality. And so if you can just...
Yeah, it took you guys a year, but wait.
We've been doing this for 4 years.
Well,
4
like
years.
with a new one. But what I'm saying is what I was going to ask you is when did you first start your journey of business?
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
ATM.
Maybe 5 for you?
5 years. Yeah.
It took you 5 years. To
4
get to
years
where
and
you-
some months, maybe like 10 months.
I was buying and selling shoes when I was 12. So if you look at it that way, like 9 years. But no, basically 4 years of being in SMMA. So yeah, most people just aren't willing. And I would also say sacrifice. They're kind of the same thing. But most people just aren't willing to give up what they need in order to get the thing they claim they want. Most people just aren't giving up enough. Like you can't say you want to run a 100K a month agency and then be putting shit in your body, getting terrible nights of sleep, going to the bar every other weekend, jerking off. Like you can't say you want to make 100K a month if you're not willing to give up the shit that is holding you back from that. You don't want it. So it'd be much easier to just admit you don't want it and then keep doing the things you're doing and you'll be much happier that way. Or actually make the change and actually make the sacrifice. But most people's actions just don't reflect what they claim they want. And so I think you have to sacrifice way more and then play way longer than you're expecting to play.
You guys had to start all over again. What niche would you go into if you had to pick a niche by tomorrow?
Real estate.
Really? Even if you have to start...
3.5 million realtors in the United States.
You have to pick a new one.
Besides real estate?
I would go into funeral homes. Why? I have experience with it. Number 2.
Yo, you're going to have to go deeper and explain that so that people aren't like, who is this guy?
So for everyone listening,
One,
if you don't
have experience.
I-
2, no context.
for everyone listening, my dad owns funeral homes. So that's the niche I would go into. But mostly because it is extremely underserved.
So you would go into an untapped niche.
Untapped. 100%.
Even if it's harder to figure out?
I don't think it's that difficult. I think it's the same thing you would be doing with real estate versus any other industry.
Why do you think people haven't done it? Like, why do you feel like people haven't got into some of these niches that are untapped?
I think it's the fear of the unknown. Everyone's chasing real estate because someone else has done it. Someone else has pioneered it, right? For example, think about back to America's starting days. I'm a big history buff, right? After the Louisiana Purchase, settlers started moving from.
Bro, you know more than me. That's
Yeah, I
for
don't even know
sure.
what the fuck that is.
Bro, I'm clogged out.
Dude, I dropped out of 9th grade. I don't know what it is. Louisiana Purchase, bro.
This was the only class I ever paid
It's about like
attention to.
Louisiana's Kitchen, Popeyes. Is that what you're talking about? I purchased
Yo,
a chicken
you
sandwich.
hungry?
I'm always hungry.
So settlers started moving from the east to the west, and you have to keep in mind, Native Americans controlled that land. It was their land, and when the settlers started moving to the west, they would go in these caravans of covered wagons, horses, kids, and they're trying to move west to find gold, to start a farm, to start these cities, these western cities. And the government was giving away the land, right? Immigrants were coming to the United States to just get that land for free. Those were the people that pioneered it, right? They were getting killed by the Native Americans. There were famine, lack of food, diseases, but nonetheless, they didn't stop. They kept going. But those are the pioneers. Those are the people like all of us talking right now. We're willing to go out there and try new things and experience it because we're not afraid to fail. We're not afraid of the perfection. So I think that's really what it comes down to. Most people, once again, are afraid to fail and they're trying to make everything perfect. And no one has pioneeered that space yet.
Yeah, and I think high risk, high reward too.
Yeah.
So
my answer would be different. So a really smart guy,
but
Richard.
you need to answer it with a historical reference.
Well, I'll use the history of it.
Drop some history.
I'll use the history
us.
of a technology company because that's the only history that I really study. But there's a really smart guy, a really famous investor and CEO, somebody that Jared and I talk about his company a lot, and his name's Richard Barton. And you know Richard, I think. I think you've talked to Richard, if I'm not mistaken, CEO of Zillow. Or no, maybe you talked to
Spencer.
You talked to Spencer. Richard's the CEO now.
Okay, no, I've spoken with Spencer.
Okay.
Raskoff.
Yeah, smart guy too. But Richard Barton, the founder, one of the co-founders and now the CEO of Zillow, he said there's only two things that I look for when starting a new company or investing in a company: the size of the market and the quality of the team. So I would go into the biggest market possible and I would build as massive a thing as I could with the best team possible. So I would, that's why I said real estate, 3.5 million realtors. What's a niche that has more than that? I don't know. If there's a niche that has more than that, all right, that's what I would go into. And I wouldn't do lead gen. I would do coaching and I would provide maybe some done for you component that solves the problem people think they need. But ultimately I would coach them and teach them whatever the niche is because that's what people actually need. But you have to give them what they want, right? Or you have to give them what they need wrapped up as what they want, right? So that's what I would do. I'd go into the biggest market possible.
That's cool. Big markets, yeah.
That's why solar. So that's why when you're talking about the solar stuff you're doing, it makes a lot of sense. It's a big ass market.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite, and maybe I did hear it from one of these billionaires, but one of my favorite business philosophies is better market always beats better team. And you'd rather take a product that has product market fit in a really big market with a mediocre team and the best team in the world with a product that has product market fit in a very bad market.
Interesting.
Some of the, I forget who specifically I learned that from, but it's definitely some venture capitalist, some investor. And he says, that is and so it aligns with what you were saying. The number one factor that they look at is the market, then the team. It's never team first. Because you look at like crypto, if you look at even AI right now, there's going to be teams that are worse than maybe a team in a completely different industry, but they're going to crush them because everyone is just dumping money into AI right now.
Yeah. Right.
Like I literally, before this podcast, I saw a video that essentially if I read here and I'm reading at my phone and I'm reading a script and the camera is right there, the camera's literally filming me, or over here, it actually makes it look like I'm looking straight into the camera, which is wild.
Wow.
That's sick.
So, so people are going to be dumping money into that, not innovation in the roofing industry,
Well, but the counter argument to that is like everybody needs a roof. So roofing, like success is boring. Success is boring. Like these people, like I forget who I was watching. Maybe it was like Ryan Pineda or somebody. He was talking about like some country he was traveling to that had like one of the most massive yacht clubs, private yacht clubs in the world. And he went up and he talked to all the like staff and the crew members of these yachts. And he's like, hey, what does the guy who owns that yacht do? What does the guy who owns that yacht do? Like, what do these people do? And they almost all gave some boring ass simple answer of what the person does. Like one guy owned a restaurant food chain. One guy was maybe like I don't know, like a insurance company or something. So these boring things, maybe they're not as sexy and appealing, but if they're big and if they're simple, they could be really, really good too. So I think that's the counter argument to things like AI.
I think like AI will affect everyone, but not everyone's a homeowner with a roof, right? So I think it's even like bigger and just exponential. And like,
sure.
One of my other favorite business philosophies, if you're going to create anything, make sure it's an order of magnitude 10 times greater than the current product or service that exists in that industry. And of course, we're not at the IQ level of a Sam Altman or an Elon Musk, or maybe that's a limiting belief, but I mean, those guys have insane IQs. But so I'm definitely not anywhere near.
Do you know what's your IQ?
I have no idea. But what I was trying to say is, even if we ask ourselves that question, it inspires some really good answers, even if we don't actually build something 10 times greater than what currently exists.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I were to actually try, Peter Thiel says, if you're going to try to build, for example, a real estate ad agency, make sure that it's at least 10 times greater than the current solutions that exist. So make sure that you're developing a product or service that's 10 times better than estate AI. Now, can someone actually build that? It's going to be really, really hard. It's going to require a lot of technological innovation or economies of scale or branding. Those are like the big three that Peter Thiel gives credit for to create that order of magnitude 10 times greater. But even if you ask yourself that question, you can come up with interesting answers that might get you even a few times better than what currently exists. So it's still a good question to ask. Okay, more questions to ask you guys. We've got about like 10 more minutes. If you guys had to start all over again, would you do SMMA?
Yes. The reason is because it taught me so many valuable skills that are transferable to almost any industry. Knowing how to market, sell, and lead and build product are like the 4 key components of any business. You have to be able to lead team. You have to be able to build team. You have to be able to market, promote. You have to be able to sell and convert who you're marketing to. Then you have to be able to deliver with a product. That is SMMA. Like SMMA is such a simple, fundamental business, but it's applicable to any industry. I could go build a restaurant chain or a gym chain or become a real estate agent because I know the main principles of business: marketing, sales, leadership, service. So I think yes, I would do SMA again, not because it's the long-term play, but because it's leading to what the long-term play is and it's setting me up for it.
For me, I think the reason why I started SMA was to be able to retire by the time I was 30, financially. So be financially free, as well as so I can figure out what I really want to do. Because back then I realized that I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I think I still realize that now. So I wanted that time to be able to figure that out, and I didn't want to have to worry about money or any stresses from anything else to impact that or impact my decision and what I was going to do with the rest of my life. I think I probably would have started actually with Airbnbs because I could get the financial freedom that I wanted. I wouldn't have the skills, so I think Matt makes a very interesting point about that. And I didn't want to give the same answer as him, but it might have actually been the same answer. But if I didn't choose that answer, it would probably be Airbnbs.
Cool. Yeah, I feel like you guys know J.R. Revis, but we're going to do an Airbnb versus SMMA video.
That's smart.
Yeah, we were thinking about racing our cars because I've got the Tesla 3 Performance.
Yeah, you have the liberal car.
He says it's a liberal car. I'm like, I've never heard that before, but apparently Andrew Tate thinks Teslas are for liberals. And JR's got the Corvette. Apparently that's not a liberal
not
car.
The liberal.
I'm like, dude, I just like the Tesla. I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was like a political association, like it's politically associated. Anyways, let's see. Why don't we end here? Any final words of wisdom, things you guys want to share? And anything at all around SMMA, life, success.
Matt, I'll let you
go. Ooh, what would you guys actually tell teenagers that are still in high school? That's even better.
feel like I kind of already gave my answer to that
I
earlier.
need another one. Give me one more.
I'll give another one. Where you are at in your life is a sum of the decisions you have made up until that point. That's all it is, right? The fact we're on this podcast right now is not because we're on this podcast. It's because of decisions that I've made across the last 21 years of my life. So if you want to live a better life, if you want to go to higher places, if you want to do more, you simply just have to make better decisions. That is it. And you have to look at what is affecting your decision making right now, what's holding you back. It's almost always consumption of some sort. You're putting shit in your body, you're eating terrible foods, which is ruining your entire mindset, and you're not able to learn the things you need to learn. You're getting terrible sleep, so you're tired all day and you're not able to take action on the opportunities that are presented to you because you're just always in a place of weakness. Or more importantly, you're always consuming bad information from people, from social media, you're watching bad movies. Your thoughts are being created by other people and it's affecting your decision making. So if you want to change where you're at in your life, you have to just make better decisions. That's basically the name of the game in life and in business too, because your thoughts create your reality, right? My favorite quote is, be careful what you think, because your thoughts determine your words determine your actions determine your habits determine your character, and your character determines your destiny. But it all gets reverse engineered down to thoughts. So you have to control your mind and you have to focus on, why do you think what you think? Why do you have the beliefs you do, good or bad? Why? And what can you do to change that? Because if you can just change the way you think, you can change your entire life. So that would be my answer.
I'll tell a quick little story. Promise I'll make it quick. I know I like to
Dude,
talk.
take your time.
All right.
8:30 on the clock.
There's an Irish poet. And President JFK actually used this poem a lot, primarily when he would talk about space exploration. And it goes like this: throw your hat over the right. There were these kids. They would take this path home every single day, back from school. And it was an Irish poet, so they were in Ireland. So there were these backpacks or these hats, and their moms made them, made them from hand, from scratch. And one day they decided not to take the road that they always traveled and the road that everyone traveled. They decided to take the road less traveled. And there was a big wall as they walked through this orchard. And everyone said it was way too high, way too tall to climb. So you know what they did? They took their hats off. I'm not going to do it because I'm having a bad hair day. But they took their hats off.
Makes two of us.
And threw them over the wall. And at that point, they had no other option but to do it. They couldn't back down because they couldn't go home to their mums. That's what they would say, not moms.
I was going to say, bro.
To their mums. And they couldn't go home without their hats. Mums. They couldn't go home without their hats. And they knew that they had to get over it. And President Kennedy, once again, talked about this when talking about space exploration. And it was something that no one thought would be possible. And we were in a race with the Soviet Union to put the first man in space, to get on the moon. And there's so many similarities with a lot of things in American history. That's why I love American history. Because when you study American history, you start to really realize, a lot of people like to talk crap about America, but you start to realize the spirit of Americans and the spirit of the people that have come before us. That's the reason why we're here where we're at today, because of the things that they did in the past. And we get to reap all those benefits. So we go to the moon, not because it's easy, but as President Kennedy said, because it's hard, because it's difficult. And so many people, especially in the society that we live in, people are weak. And they're weak because there were strong men before us, and strong men create weak men. Strong times, good times create weak men. And that's what's starting to happen. So I think for anyone listening, anyone in high school, it doesn't even matter if you're out of high school, I think you need to realize that we live in a society where a lot of people are weak. Not just physically, but mentally. And you have to ask yourself, what's the hat? What's the wall? How can I take my hat off, force myself over the wall, and just figure it out? If I had a gun to my head, and I know Sergio talks about this a lot when it comes sales. If you had a gun to your head and you had to close a deal, what would you do? What would you do? And it starts off with those limiting beliefs that we were talking about. And here's another story. I promise I'm going to end quickly, but it ties in. I promise it ties in. And there's an elephant and they're at a zoo and there's this guy. I actually shared this with my team, I think last week, but there was this guy and he looks at this elephant and there's this baby elephant. It used to be a baby elephant, right? But now it's a big elephant. And the elephant is tied together by like a little string, like something like this. And it's like probably thousands of pounds. And it's tied by this little string. And now it's a big elephant. And the guy asked the zookeeper, how is that elephant not running away when it's only tied to this little string? Well, it's because he was tied to this little string as a baby elephant. And he was conditioned to believe that this little string could stop him from achieving what he was destined to achieve.
Because when he tried to escape as a baby elephant, the string was actually strong enough to keep him back. So now as an adult, the adult elephant still thinks that same little string. I'm saying this because Jared did tell our team this exact story, but I want to add that part in. Yeah. The elephant did try to run away from the string, but when he was a baby, the string was enough.
It's a very important part. And that's what I would say to anyone in high school right now. You have to realize that, and typically it will be your parents, that there was a string holding you back. But in a few years, your parents aren't going to be there for you. It's going to be you, and you're responsible for yourself. And you just need to take your hat off and throw it over the wall and cut the string.
That's it. Wow. That's cool, man. You know what I was thinking while you shared that story? This is a very random thought. Maybe you don't want to do this, but I was like, yo, Jared should run for president.
I was going to say the same thing.
I was like, dude, I would vote for him in a heartbeat.
I was going to say the same thing.
Dude, because you have that. You have.
I would never vote for him, but he should run.
He knows too much.
No, he's too humble.
Too humble.
The humble billionaire. Where's Matt? Dude, you are an inspiration, Jared.
Yeah.
And Matt, you are filled with so much wisdom at such a young age. You guys are both incredible. So thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you, dude.
Love you guys.
Man. Yeah,
Love you, right
you have no idea how much this means to me, at least. I'm sure I can say the same for Jared. But yeah, like 2 years ago, I was watching your YouTube videos and I was like, Joel Kaplan's a god. Like, man, like this guy's crazy. I remember I first saw one of your ads. It was like, agency owners, stop scrolling. I was like, this guy's a fucking scammer. That's what I said.
And now you have the scam ad. Scam.
That's a good ad, by the way. But I remember watching that, and then I was like,
it's just the way the world works. People, like, you need to do crazy shit to get people's attention. And again, you sell people what they want, you give them what they need. Because humans are humans.
Exactly.
Like, they're just gonna react the way that they react. And if I said, hey guys, I'd love to help you, and you're gonna have to work really hard, and I care a lot about you, but if you don't really show up and give it your all, you're not going to get results. If you're interested, that's not going to hit.
It doesn't work.
But dude, I was watching YouTube ads, YouTube videos, listening to podcasts just like this, just a few years ago. So the fact that we're actually here now talking to you, I know it's cliche, but I can't really put into words how incredible it is to think about that. And I'm not as motivational when it comes to speaking as Jared is. I'm not as maybe influential.
You're very wise.
But
trust me,
you're
very wise for your age.
But, and I don't know the sexiest way to say this, but if we could go
vice president. I'm just kidding.
Nah, he needs a white girl. He needs a white girl. He needs himself a Hillary Clinton. That's like Anyway,
put that on a TikTok video.
Take that part out. But yeah, man,
that's not coming out, bro. I'm sorry.
If we could go from that to now being here with you, I wonder who listening to this podcast can do the exact same thing, or maybe even more, right? So it's a really, really cool moment, and I hope we can keep connecting and and learning from you, and
vice versa. I'm learning from you guys every day. So.
On the basketball court, maybe a little bit. But that's it.
Dude, let's not go into that right now. But anyways, on the record, we both went to play. Matt's very good at basketball. And we won the first 3 games together.
Dude, and they were good. I was surprised.
Yeah, we were both dropping buckets.
Yeah. You hit some crazy shots. I'm like, I was like, dude, don't shoot that. And then you shoot and you make it. I'm like, what? It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm an awkward player. I take the weird shots, but they go in. So
Yeah. And then, I learned something about, I know we're 20 seconds left, but I learned something about you today. Because I think sports show a lot about who a person really is, right? Because business is just a game, just like basketball is just a game. It's all right, we'll finish with this. When you like start to go down and when shit starts to get hard, you start to lose in some way, like you go to a different level. You go to a different level. You hate losing. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm acting like the podcast is going to keep going, but I noticed that about you today when we were playing basketball. It's like you don't want to lose.
no,
And I think I'm the
absolutely
same
not.
exact way. I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of entrepreneurs are.
I mean, in the last game, I was actually exhausted because we won so many games back to back to back.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, like we both were like, we need a break.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like when a lot of people begin to lose, that's actually when you need to lean even harder.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like the winner's dilemma. If you actually look at also when you're winning, you need to lean in even harder. Like the winner's dilemma, most like sports teams lose their lead not because when they were winning, like when they're up,
Yeah.
because they get comfortable. So it's like it's both. But anyways,
Yeah. I'm having a weird moment of nostalgia. I was listening to one of your podcasts a year ago talking to Eddie, and he asked you like one piece of advice or something, like a question like probably like you asked us. And you said when shit gets hard, you need to lean into that deeper. And I was in a really hard moment. I was like ready to give up and quit. But I saw that podcast of you saying that, and I leaned in, and it actually changed my life. So now you just said that again on
that's
another
cool.
podcast. Anyway, now I'm the one talking a lot. So.
Dude, but he's very good at basketball. Like you're better than me for sure. Like you are very good.
Dude, we should do an SMMA basketball tournament.
I'm down, but all right, here's the only downside. People have like when I've opened up the possibility of playing against me, people all of a sudden want to fucking destroy me and annihilate Joel Kaplan.
Yeah, no,
it gets intense. Like Neville, if you're watching this, I love you. I love you. He's a really good friend of mine. But when the night before we went to play, I was scared for the first time. I was like, he's gonna kill me. I'm like, this guy's gonna kill me on the court.
Neville's intense, dude. Yeah, no, it could be dangerous for you though, because a lot of people are gonna be gunning for you. Like, I took.
I'm like, dude, there's pros and cons, and then also like one of the remember I said earlier, like with money and fame and putting myself out there, like I also have to be intentional with what I want to share. And one of the lessons that I learned, it's like I don't need to share everything. So like some things like my dog or basketball, like I actually stopped posting about those things on purpose on my social media. I was like, you know what? Even though they're a part of me, those can also be a part of me just for me. Like I don't need to share those things. So part of why I haven't done like big basketball thing and all that is because like I kind of want that just for my friends and the people around me. And you guys, if you're in Denver, of course we'll go play, but that's it.
Yeah, makes sense.
I don't want to mix it with the identity of business. I don't know. All right, guys, that's it.
That's a wrap.
Cool.
Should I just drink again to
I think you need to. Going out the same way we came in.